Are your customer acquisition costs too high? Lifetime values too low? Are you uncertain if your communication strategies are helping or hurting the efficiency and effectiveness of your marketing efforts? Welcome to the Continuous Revenue Marketer podcast, where the most influential marketers in the world are sharing their insights and lessons on the critical topics they and their chief executives must address daily. How to drive consistent business growth by delivering more revenue through profitable acquisition and customer lifetime value maximization strategies. What you'll hear today by listening to this podcast are the actual strategies and tactics our marketing experts are using to achieve these critical missions. Hi, I'm Russell Kern and founder of Kern and Omnicom Agency, and I'm joined by my co-host and producer, Elliott Dennis. Today, we are honored to have as our special guest, Carla Iboli, the EVP DE&I lead at Energy BBD&O, and she is also the sponsor of Ascento, the Omnicom ERG. And Carla, we're very welcome to have you. I know as we prepared to record, you wanted to make sure that we communicated to the audience that you're going to provide actionable value and that people are going to be able to take notes and walk away with important information. So I'd like to start, as we do with all of our podcasts, just kind of setting the stage. What got you here? What's your background? Why is this important? Why is the Omnicom ERG important? So let's just start with setting some stage, if you would.
Russell, thank you so much for having me here today. I'm flattered, and this is obviously a subject that I love to talk about. When we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, we are talking way bigger than, gender and age and, socioeconomic status. So it's a very important conversation because our clients are demanding. But it probably would take another podcast for me to tell you how did I get here. But if I can share with some of my peers here what I learned during the transition from Latin America to United States is that the cultural differences that I'm bringing to the table is making the work we developed at BBDO richer. So the first thing that I always talk to clients and also to our agency's CEOs is that the more diversity you have within the room, the better will be your creative outcome. The better will be the work that you are sharing with your clients, right? Because most of our agencies, Russell, unfortunately, still do not reflect the country that we live in.
Yes.
So
yes.
We have to be very intentional in terms of hiring more diverse backgrounds. So that's what I learned. And I also learned that I do not know how to speak English properly. I do not know how to speak Portuguese properly, nor Spanish, because sometimes all those things get very confused in my brain. But again, I also had to learn how to deal with my accent and not letting this kind of, hold me back. So this is another experience that I would love to share with your audience, is that a lot of us come, as immigrants who come from a different country. So we have an accent. And even people in United States, if you come from Texas or if you come from Boston, you're going to have a very distinctive accent. And sometimes we get discriminated because of that. And sometimes in a room we feel, smaller because of that. So
so this is such an important thing for immigrants, for women leaders. Can you give me a little richer, deeper story of a time where you felt small and were able to get through that, or a time where you didn't lean into it and you were able to overcome it? So to give someone who's listening, hey, let me just tell you a little bit about a challenge and a success.
Absolutely. And, the more I share of those stories, the more I share my weakness, the strongest I feel, because more people come to me saying, thank you for sharing this. So if you have a story like that, please share with your people. But it took me a while to kind of, go out and make presentations to clients, because I was always concerned about my accent. And also, to be honest, always concerned about making mistakes in English, right? It's not my first language. Sometimes, you do not know how to pronounce a word. And so it took me a while, and it took also a leader, my former CEO, Greg Kniep, at the agency, my prior Omnicom agency, Dieste, being such a strong, supporter and ally. So leaders, you got to support your workforce. You got to support your diverse workforce. You got to support the next generation of female leaders, because it can be, sometimes lonely. And culturally, obviously, coming from Brazil, I'm very, warm, and I kiss and I hug and I smile. I have a very positive attitude towards life. And once I heard from a former CEO of one of our agencies, he told me, like, in the beginning when I got here in 2008, he said, "You sound quite smart, but you smile too much. People won't take you serious." Well, I want to tell him that I now sit at BBDO, one of our biggest, global agencies, with an EVP. So something I did right, that even with my smile, people took me seriously. So I don't think it's about our cultural behavior. I want people at my agency and at all our Omnicom agencies to bring them full selves, because that's how you get productive people, right?
Yeah.
When they can bring themselves to the agency and they feel like they are accepted. So that's what I give as an advice to all leaders. The more supportive you are, the more safety spaces you build within your agency, the better results you're going to get.
Yes, one of the things we talk about is psychological safety, the ability to express yourself, your feelings, whether you're in agreement or in conflict, but you feel safe to be your whole self. And that is the new workforce, the new workplace of the decade ahead of us here.
You
Elliott,
are absolutely correct.
I know you have a next question. I'll throw it back to you.
Yeah, Carla, thanks so much for sharing some of those candid personal stories. And that's something we've talked a lot on this podcast, is the growing and shifting importance of employee resource groups. And I know it's something I'm very proud about, being a member here of Omnicom, is the importance we put behind our ERGs. And so can you tell us a little bit about how, they fit into the larger ecosystem at the corporate level? And then also, can you tell us a bit about, Accento's area of focus and how you support Omnicom internally, and then also externally, to kind of bring that not just corporate inclusivity, but also that includes, in the workplace, but also through into the work? Yeah.
That's a great question, Elliott. Thanks so much for bringing that, subject. So in the last 2 years, we brought to life 6 different ERGs, all of them and employee resource groups. That's what ERGs stand for. And right now, obviously, we started them in North America, but some of our ERGs are already expanding globally, which is always a challenge. And I will touch that a little later, because it's something that we have been thinking about. So 3 things that I think that the ERGs do quite well. First and foremost, create the sense of community. That is key for us to, have high performance teams when they feel like they belong and they feel that they have a voice. Connect to that. Number 2 is you really bring to the table the best in class of your people and create a retention program. ERGs are a great way for you to retain your talent, because of the sense of community, because of the sense of belonging, because of you creating this, top-notch group of diverse executives communicating and collaborating. The third thing that we do really well, we use our ERGs, and I do that a lot, as our cultural trust groups. So, and I encourage all of you that are, hearing to this podcast, reach out to me if you need to, if you need to connect with the ERGs. But here's my process. Whenever we have some work that we want to pressure test, and we wanted the opinion of people that are embedded in that culture, being, connecting with, being the case of connecting with our Black Together ERG, or our Acento ERG, which brings our Latinx community together, our people with disabilities ERG, I reach out to a group of members and I say, we're developing a work for a client. we have those scripts, or we have those creative concepts. And I would love you to take a look at that and give me some feedback. With that, I am obviously, getting the best out of Omnicom, getting the best of our people, and that's the power of the network, right? It doesn't make any sense to have this incredible family, incredible community, incredible, holding company as Omnicom if we don't get together to benefit our clients. So again, I think that the ERGs are great to create sense of community, retain talent, and also to cross-pollinate culture and cultural understanding.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks. And, so I appreciate you sharing some firsthand examples of how you're kind of doing that here. But, recently you spoke on Hispanic Latinx kind of inclusive in the work in the marketplace by speaking at AdColor Conference Awards. I think it was called Ads for All. What's behind, yes. I think it was actually, I'm sorry, I had it written down. It's Ads for All. Yeah. What's behind the representation cap? So, but more at the, marketing level and across all agencies and client side, can you share some thoughts on what you think is holding the industry back, since obviously not everyone is at the forefront of inclusive marketing?
Oh, Elliott, this is another full podcast. But I love that question, because it gives me the platform and the opportunity to pass the microphone to others. I would love to hear some other folks' opinions, but a couple of things, three things that I want to mention to you. So first and foremost, for many years, I heard from clients that they were not being able to measure the success of their diverse efforts or their multicultural campaigns, which is absolutely not true. So clients, they believe that they are not being able to measure, but they are. There are so many different tools right now that I'll be happy to share. But, BBDO has its own tool. It's called Compass. But we are also partners with the ANA, the multicultural arm of the ANA. It's called AIM. And AIM also has, some very precise, accurate tools to measure the impact of messages that are based on diversity insights. So that is a myth that we have to kind of have some serious conversations with our clients. The second thing that I heard from clients quite often is, my general market efforts are reaching and connecting with the overall population. I don't need to do something because my casting looks like United Color of Benetton. So I am very sad to inform that if diversity for your client is casting, you're in a bad route. This is gonna collide and it's gonna go down in flames. Diversity insights, they have to come from inception. It has to come from the way you collect data. It has to come from the way your team is assembled to come up with those insights. It has to be part of a creative brief. So if you just kind of adding diversity at the end as casting, probably it won't be a successful campaign. And the third thing, Elliott, is what I told Russell in the beginning of this conversation. Our agencies still do not reflect the population. So it's very tough. It's very hard for you to create messages that will resonate with your diversity audience if you don't have inside of the agency the diversity that will bring those insights to the table, right? So think about, I'm going to give a good example. Think about Coco, the Pixar, blockbuster, how they created that movie, and I'm sure that a lot of us watch it with our kids or even by ourselves. Pixar is the top, creative lab. The immersion process that they develop for people to understand the culture, it's absolutely impressive. We have this program here at BBDO. We do immersion, cultural immersion, so which I'll be also happy to share with other folks. But again, we have to bring more diversity to our agencies so we can develop work that will resonate with our audience. So those are the three reasons, like in a nutshell, but I could spend another hour talking to you about it.
So I want to pick up on a few things, because given my gray hair, 10 years ago, Hispanic marketing was its own really important discipline, and marketers would set aside money and et cetera. Then that seemed to have faded away under the, as you described, well, I'm reaching the whole marketplace and therefore they're there. And if I just do diversity in my casting, whatever, we're there. I did notice here that, you were reported on work done for Pearl Vision and trying to close the inequity gap in terms of serving Hispanic families. Maybe you could talk about the brand and how they are doing it right, why they are investing in the Hispanic market and the community and personalizing it and realizing this is an investment that we have to make and it's not just a general market add-on. So can you add, your work insights from Pearl Vision without giving away any trade secrets?
Oh, absolutely. No trade secrets, but I have a secret to share.
Okay.
I also have gray hair, but I colored. So
okay, I'm going to try to catch you.
So trust me, I have been in this role for a while, but I'm glad that you asked about Pearl Vision because it's really a great partner we have been working with. A couple of things. So I'm going to I love to list 3 things because it's easy for people to remember. The first thing is
you're a good neuroscientist. We as neuromarketers, we always talk about 3 things because that's all the mind can hang on to. So I love your 3 things. Go at it, girl.
Good.
Give me 3 things.
Let me give you my 3 things. So the first one is location. So think about your clients, think about your portfolio of clients and where their business is located physically, right? Is it in a neighborhood where you have a high concentration of Hispanics or Blacks or Asians or, LGBTQA plus community? So that is the case of Pearl Vision. A lot of our stores, a lot of our clinics, they are located in areas with high concentration of Hispanic families. The second thing is they found out that these families are not being served properly, that they are not getting the attention that they that we all want and we all crave from a healthcare perspective, and they are kind of being the first one connecting. So they found some space for them to build a true, honest, authentic relationship with the families, understanding that the way Latinos go to the doctor or to the clinic is as a family group. So generally speaking, you're going to see the mom, the grandma, eventually like the tia will come together, and that cousin that we call cousin, but it's not a blood connection. So we work really close with the Pearl Vision to unveil all those insights and those specific specificities about the Hispanic consumer and the Hispanic families. So the third thing is there is a genetic predisposition of Hispanics for site issues and site specific needs. So that is another that data point that we shared with our clients. And also, obviously, because a lot of those Hispanic families, they are in underserved areas. The school that the kids go, they do not have the service to kind of, look at kids' overall health and see if there is a problem. A lot of, kids, they go to schools where the teacher will identify a learning issue and they will jump and say, there might be some side issues. The kids are not being able to read, but a lot of underserved communities don't have that luxury. So understanding the proximity of our stores to the consumer, understanding, how they crave for that attention and how they behave, and understanding, the genetic predisposition of Hispanics, we build a very robust program for Pearl Vision. So yeah, that's the story. No secret here, just deep knowledge of the data combined with the true cultural insights.
Okay, got it. Elliott, over to you.
Yeah, I love those. And those are three great tips. And you really how to really take a step back. And when you are concepting, really to get to the root cause. And so I've kind of an add-on question similar, more from an activation perspective, kind of with a media lens. So congrats. I saw you recently selected to be part of South by Southwest, 2023 panel. I could see why, with all the great tips that you're providing. I saw you're going to be speaking with U.S. Congressman, was it Joaquin Castro and an award-winning actor Juan Cortes on how to improve Latinx representation in media. So can you maybe just give 3 more tips on from an activation perspective? What are some ways that brands can improve when it comes to activating their media to bring in that inclusivity down to the working market?
Thank you, Elliott. I will tell you, I'm nervous. This panel is going to be a superstar. I'm the humble person that is kind of joining them, but I'm very flattered. So, listen, Elliott, the same thing we do with the general market is the way we should be treating, the diversity audience. What are their media, consumption habits? Where are they? How they want to be connected with? When is the best moment for us to intercept and connect with this consumer? We know that Hispanics, they over-index in the use of cell phones and tablets. So start from there, right? So having a media partner that will inform you about the habits, it's marketing 101, my friend. There's really not, it's the willingness of invest to unveil those habits, those media consumptions, right? And do it in culture. I'm not saying do it in language. So that is a very important distinction. Sometimes you're going to have, consumers that are Hispanics that they feel more comfortable with English. So it's totally fine. But some others, remember, they might not feel comfortable with English all the time, right? When you have a client such as AT&T with, most of Hispanics, that they're first generation of Hispanics, they don't like to read, those big contracts in Spanish. They feel in English. They feel more comfortable when they are being communicated about those things in Spanish. So understanding these nuances and how people consume media and where they are and when they are, that is the key for the success. It's again, no secret. I'm here, open heart, sharing what I learned in this industry. It's really having the right people in the right place to get those insights and those media habits in the right place for your brand.
So Carla, I'm going to have a closing question for you. You've given us a lot of tips. You have a lot of experience. When you look at CMOs going forward, and if you want to give them some really successful advice for the next 12 to 24 months, knowing the market, knowing the economy, knowing what's happening, given all your lessons, if you were going to speak to a CMO about driving success within the community, you've covered so many lessons. I'm hoping to get some fresh ones. The 3 most important things they must do, either for their team or how they think about the marketplace or how they manage their creative culture. And granted, I am going to say is, listen, we talked about hiring diversity. If we can't mirror our audience, we can't bring those ideas. So I'm going to take that one off the table and have you give me 3 more.
You just took my
I know I took your first one. That's
yes,
okay.
Yes, a lot of pressure. Listen, learn more about different cultures, right? Get out of a bubble, immerse yourself in different cultures. Go learn about your audience. Go where your consumers are shopping. I can guarantee that there are a lot of CMOs that, a lot of clients that never got into a Walmart to see their products in the pharmacy section or in the food aisle. So immerse yourself in the culture. Learn about what your consumers are doing outside of their routine. Go to where they live. Think creatively in that sense. The second thing is, you have to spread the concept of diversity, equity, and inclusion beyond those basic, gender and age. Think about, the community of people with the disabilities, right? start to bring more of the people that you don't see around you, because a lot of CMOs don't think about, their role as culture creators and the impact of what we put out there. So it's very important that we have this, a more broad group of people that are developing our products and our campaigns. And the third one, please always combine data with true cultural insights. I am a big data fan. I love that. I love numbers, right? But data won't tell the full story. So a lot of CMOs, they kind of, they solely believe in data as their, information source. First, bring from different data sources, because when you bring from one place only, you might get always the same insights. And once you have, this variety of data points that you can combine, really have a group of people that will be able to inform you and create cultural insights that are coming from the community. Your communication will be stronger, and you're going to build a much stronger bond with your clients and consumers.
Carla, thank you very much. And I think what I'm really hearing is it's about authenticity, and you can't be authentic unless you are of and live within the culture. And I love the aspect that a CMO is the culture creator. The CMO has to embrace, encourage, surround, invite, such that the brand and the messaging is as deeply authentic as possible, and thus the resonance happens within the minds of their consumers, given the cultures of our different audiences beyond the general market. So I want to say thank you to you. On behalf of Elliott and myself, we're so grateful, Carla, for you being our guest and sharing this very important knowledge. That's a topic that's on everyone's mind and not going to go away. I also want to thank everyone for listening today. So please make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any other future episodes. And until next time, I'm Russell Kern.
The Continuous Revenue Marketer has been brought to you by Kern, an Omnicom precision marketing agency that helps Fortune 500 companies increase revenue from customer acquisition to loyalty through personalization at speed and scale. For more information, please visit kernagency.com.